3D, Fox Sports Radio, Philadelphia.
Pitch, breaking ball, hammer deep left field. That one is up, and that one is gone. Number 18 for Nick Castellanos, and it's a 3-run home run to break open some breathing room as the Phillies now lead the Astros 4-0. And a swing and a ground ball towards first. Harper lays out. He's got it. Gets up. Steps on first. And that's the ball game. And the Phillies blank the Astros tonight for their 4th consecutive victory.
Woo! We're back. Let's go. Taking 2 out of the first 2 against the Houston Astros. Game 3. Are we talking BROOM-Talk? Breaking out the brooms at Citizens Bank Park. Coming your way at 4:05 p.m. with a monster total of 10. Gee, I wonder why that total is on DraftKings Sportsbook as high as it is. Could it be the fact that Taijuan Walker is going for the fight? And that could be a possibility. All right, let's not waste any time. The story of the day, of course, is the Phillies and the Houston Astros. Game 3, once again, the Phillies actually a slight dog here, plus 102. The Astros minus 122. We got our Phillies insider, Luke Arcaini, joining the ball game right off the jump here. Luke, Castellanos goes yard. Put the nail in the coffin. Phillies find a way to win another ball game. Oh, here we go. 5-0 against a really good Houston Astros team. I guess the big question I would have from the jump is, this type of team, this is the team that we could be talking about playing well into October. Of course, these first 2 games against the Houston Astros.
Yeah, no, really no possible way those first 2 games could have gone better, right? Your pitching looked great, and your bats have looked great. Aaron Nola looked awesome last night. Honestly, one of his best starts this season, and I would even go to say one of the best of his career recently. Just an unbelievable start on a night with a taxed bullpen. No Estevez, no Strahm last night. Just a night where you really needed a good one from one of your aces. You got every bit of it from Aaron Nola. But yeah, I mean, Nick Castellanos, the dude's now hitting over 300 since the All-Star break. Just seems like every time he goes up there, he's just gonna get on base right now. He talked after the game last night. I don't really know if you heard this legendary quote, but he basically said, "I don't have an approach. I go up there and I try and hit the baseball as hard as I can." When he's in a slump, you probably scratch your head at that quote, but when he's hitting like he is right now, you don't change a damn thing. So no, I mean, it's been a really, really great run for Castellanos since I would say really around the beginning of June. April and May were really bad, but since I believe it's like June 15th, I think he's hitting like 310 since then. So it's been a really great run for Castellanos in a time that the offense really needed it. I mean, I think we know the sort of the struggles that we've gotten over the past month or so from Trey and a little bit of Bryce back in those rough patches like a month or 2 ago. So in a time where the offense really needed a guy in the center of their lineup, it's really been Nick Castellanos all the way.
All right. So from where we're at right now with Nola and what he did last night, it's like, it's so hard to really pin down Aaron Nola, even though he has been good. It's just that one game against the Atlanta Braves in that previous start, I believe it was, where he spread out 8 hits and he only came away with 2 earned runs and 5 1/3. And then you get what you did last night. That's, again, like I said, to the big picture of this team, when you get that type of pitching from Nola and from Wheeler, and then you can mix in some of the big hits from Harper and Castellanos, this is the recipe for success. Now, the question I would have is, does it carry over into game 3 for tonight? And as I said, a slight dog with Taijuan Walker going this evening or this afternoon, whatever you want to say, 4:05 first pitch at Citizens Bank Park. Your thoughts on this game, Luke Arcaini? Where are we looking tonight? We breaking out the brooms?
Yeah, there haven't been many situations this year where the Phillies have been a home dog. But that's what's going to happen when Taijuan Walker's on the mound right now. It's been really bad. Last 8 starts, his ERA, I believe, is over 7. The Phillies are 0-8 in his last 8 starts. This really, to me, feels like a last chance resort here. I just can't imagine these struggles continuing and him just getting trotted out there every 5 days. I mean, the dude's killing the team when he's out there. It's been just a really ugly season, and honest to God, just a pretty brutal contract. Listen, I would love to get the brooms out. I think the Phillies offense is in a good spot tonight. But if they can get through some of these Taijuan innings and hopefully build a lead early, I think they can be okay. But I can't put much money on the line from a game standpoint with Taijuan on the mound right now. You just don't know what you're going to get. Actually, I lied. You do know what you're going to get. It's not good. So listen, if the dude can go out and give you, I would die for 5 innings of 3-run ball today. That's kind of where I'm at with Taijuan. But yeah, I mean, who knows? There's been some really, really solid numbers for Astros hitters against Taijuan in the past. The Astros hit righties really well. So, I mean, if you're going to be betting props, I'm going to be on Altuve today. Him and Bregman really for me. But it's getting tougher and tougher to put Walker out there every 5 days with just how it's going. I mean, I
have to believe.
I can't imagine.
I have to believe this is it. Yeah, this is it. I would think that this has got to be it.
If he goes out there tonight and lets up 6 runs in 3 innings, it's got to be it.
Yep.
Like you got to cut him. You got to just cut him. You got to eat the money. I mean, the Astros just did it with Jose Abreu a few months ago, and I think they're doing all right. So it's just one of those situations where Dave Dombrowski's going to sort of have to put the ego aside and say, I messed up. But, I mean, the best thing for this team is Taijuan Walker not being on this roster after today. And if he can get you through today, I guess. But I don't know. It's just – I can't imagine that if they trot him out there and they lose his 9th start in a row, I would be shocked if he's on this team.
Well, it does get interesting because you got Taijuan Walker, as we said, he's on the mound, 3-5, 6.26 ERA this season, gave up 6 runs in 3 innings against the Royals on Friday. But on the flip side of that, Spencer Arrighetti going for the Houston or before the Astros here, 6-11 rookie, 4.94 ERA. Did pitch well his last out. The thing that stands out to me the most in this game this evening is the fact that the Astros have been struggling. They have lost 6 of their past 8 games. And of course, we know, as we just discussed, possible looking down the barrel at a sweep, their first sweep since April 23rd through 25th. So this is a team that's battled. Of course, they had a bad start to the season, but they've turned it around and were the front runners in that division. But so they got to find a way to win a game. And I'm not going to sit here and pitch the idea to take the Houston Astros. No, I'm not, because I think it'll be a short leash for Taijuan Walker. But with that high total at 10, you could either look at it from 2 ways. You could either say this is a game that's going to go over and everybody's going to eat, so hit those batter props, or maybe you got some short leashes. There's going to be a bullpen game, and whoever's got the better bullpen maybe limits it. Stay under the total at 10. We'll see where you stand on that one. Where do you stand? How do you see this one playing out this afternoon here?
Yeah, I will say this: the Phillies bullpen is just about fresh. They have just about everyone out there. So if Taiwan did have to come out, after the third, fourth inning, I mean, basically every guy is available, I believe, except Jose Ruiz today. So bullpen, I would say, definitely favors the Phillies today. And even if I would still look towards that over, even though it is all the way up to 10, I would also look at the Phillies team total. I think they're just hitting the ball really well right now. If you can find that on a good number around 4.5, I would definitely jump on that. I think the bats will continue to go. It's really just a matter of what Walker's going to do on the mound. So I would really just look at the overs in this game, the team total. I would also look at the Astros, just team total in general, maybe like a first 5 total sort of thing. I think we could definitely see some runs early in this game. So I think there's a good chance I think the over could cash in like the 5th inning. So two guys that are going to allow some runs, not really having great runs over the last few weeks. So I would definitely look at runs in this game, bases, and really all that stuff.
All right, Castellanos, he's got it going right now.
Bags, baby. Castellanos bags.
Yeah, look, he has been just really hitting the ball well. I think he's gone a 13 out of 15 hit streak as far as getting a base hit. He's actually hit safely in 5 straight games. 13 out of 15 games he's come away with a base hit as well. So he's dialed in. So I would probably stay with the high end of the dice game on that one. And just from the standpoint of wagering on this game, why not go into it with the attitude that everybody's going to eat? So take a flyer on possibly a better prop or two. Pick your favorite player and take a swing at that. Me, I'll stay with Castellanos. I don't know. Anybody else? You said Harper possibly as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Castellanos and Harper. I think Harper's heating up pretty good. I'm gonna roll with Harper and Castellanos today. Guys I stay away from, Alec Boehm. I think Boehm's just sort of in a rut right now. Just been a lot of helmet slamming and hissy fits the past few games. Definitely a guy that I wouldn't touch today. With that being said, after I say that, I'll probably go yard. But I'm just going to go Harper and Castellanos today. Really, it's
pretty crazy to see the strikeout. Who are you looking out for on the Astros side?
For the Astros, I'm going to go Bregman out too.
Okay.
I think those two guys really against Taiwan, and I mean a safe bet. I didn't really get to look at his really splits much against Taiwan, but I mean a safe bet against a bad pitcher is always Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah. All right. Pretty interesting stuff from the Houston Astros standpoint with Arrighetti. The strikeouts he has 6, 5, 13, 12, and 8 in his last 5 appearances. So he can throw up some numbers there, but at the same time hasn't been a great pitcher all season long. Has pitched better as of late, though, looking at his numbers here. So last time out against the Baltimore Orioles, possibly his best outing all season long. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, 0 earned runs, only 3 hits given up. So hopefully that's not the case this afternoon. It's in the middle. I'm like struggling with that. It's like 4:05. So I don't know. Yeah. It's like, midday. It's not midday because midday would be noon. So like the dusk. I don't know. Where would you say 4 o'clock is? Is this an afternoon game or a night game?
We call it an early dinner game.
Yeah, early dinner. It's definitely not a night game. It's not a night game. No, it's a 4 o'clock start.
I would say afternoon because I would consider a 1 o'clock game a day game.
Yes,
and I would consider a 4 o'clock game an afternoon.
Yes. All right. So there we are.
Or an early dinner game.
Well, Luke, I think it's going to be a difficult spot for, of course, Taiwan Walker for the Phillies, but I won't be surprised if there's a short leash and the Phillies find a way to win a 5-4 ball game. So hopefully that will be the case. But good luck on those plays and appreciate you popping up on here after a big-time dub, back-to-back dubs by the Fightins. Enjoy the game, sir.
Sure, thanks, John.
My man, there he is, Luke Arcaini, joining us on the Gambler Hotline to get the party started here. All right. Again, last night, nice victory. And this is, again, you're talking about teams, right? And I understand the big picture. I said this yesterday. You got teams that come in and you lose 2 of 3. You can't really focus on that one win. Nobody's trying to say that. But in the bigger picture, these are playoff type atmospheres. These are playoff teams. These are teams that are battle tested, that will be there come playoff time. Houston Astros, we know they're going to be in the playoffs, and chances are they'll make another run to the American League championship series, right? The ALCS. But again, right now, right here for the Phillies, find a way to string together victories. They have done so now with 3 straight wins. Royals 2 against the Astros. Got a big series coming up against the Braves. So, of course, all eyes on the Titans. 4:05 first pitch down at Citizens Bank Park. Once again, be sure to use Brace as your promo code. Plus 102 Taiwan Walker. You're dancing with the devil. Good luck. If you do have a play on today's game, love to get your thoughts at Fox PHL Gambler. If you do have a play on today's game, where are you looking? Why are you looking that way? And what's your angle? So please hit us up. Get us the numbers at Fox PHL Gambler. Do see Beef is checking in. Ryan Beef Coyle. You'll hear him and the big brains. Joe Tanzi and Mark Henry Jr. coming up at 5 o'clock talking all things college football. Fred's Tavern, stand up. You're damn right. Let's go. Stone Harbor. Down there in the beautiful shore. I can't wait. Heading down there this week on Sunday. So looking forward to that. All right. Some NFL conversation. Let's get to it. First of all, we do have a losing ticket to hit on, which is upsetting to start. It seems that the Pittsburgh Steelers have made their decision and are going to go with Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback. They have named Russell Wilson as their week 1 starting quarterback against the Atlanta Falcons per Jay Glazer. So that is a loser at plus 300 for Justin Fields. And if you go back and you listen to this segment or you go back and view the tweets, I simply said that this seems like, due to the price and due to my read, that this is already a decision made, and that you knew Mike Tomlin was going to go with Russell Wilson from the standpoint of everything he said when they acquired him, that with the pole position. And, oh, by the way, he has looked, and Justin Fields hasn't looked great. No one's going to pitch that idea to you, but it's easy, right? You got 2 eyes. You can judge who has more capabilities of leading you to a victory than the other. And Justin Fields, far and away, was a better option to be a starting quarterback in my eyes and everybody else's eyes on ESPN. I don't even think Sierra is pitching the idea of Russell Wilson over Justin Fields, if we're honest with ourselves. However, there's always more to the story. Who the hell knows what's being said? Is it something along the lines of that if you go to Justin Fields, a backup quarterback in week 2, week 3, week 5, whatever it may be, can you add a little bit more oomph to your team? I don't know. Mike Tomlin is a professional coach. He's been doing it for a long time, a very good one at that. I just don't think that this is the right decision. We'll see. Russell Wilson, we know what he's capable of, but he's 36 years old. I think those days are long gone, and I think he's cooked. So Justin Fields should have been the starter. I thought at plus 300, plus 380, we saw tickets at plus 380 on DraftKings Sportsbook. It was worth the shot. And, you sprinkle a little bit, you chalk it up as a loss. It sucks. But if Russell Wilson did pull a calf in that game 3 where he was already hurt, I thought that was part of the handicap as well. That was to the right side. Oh, well, it is what it is. We chalk it up as an L. But we do have breaking news. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going with Russell Wilson as their week 1 starter. Staying in the NFL, and this is a conversation that came up on the timeline and the previous show before us. And it's really interesting because this is one that is also beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I look at a guy like Odell Beckham Jr. And if you go back and check my track history on him, phenomenal talent, absolutely a guy that you think you can win a division with, win games with, make plays, all of the above. And then he became his own worst enemy. And I don't know if it was the fame that got to him or whatever it was, but the fighting of the kicking nets and everything else that was coming with it, right? And this is all with the Giants. And if you're that good, you know that they're not going to move off of you, right? Teams don't want to lose their best players, but we see it happen from time to time. He's then been on, as we pull it up, let me just make sure that I'm correct, because then he went to, of course, Cleveland, and then had the whole deal with Baker Mayfield and all that nonsense. Ends up with the Rams, goes to the Super Bowl, had a big impact on that run, albeit very short. But if he doesn't, as Joe Tanzi pointed out on social media, if he doesn't get hurt in that Super Bowl game, chances are he's the NFL MVP or the Super Bowl MVP, right? So that's going to be another a difference as far as what the real history is that we would view in a positive light versus that did not happen. He got hurt. So that's a tough pill to swallow. It's just the reality. And then he goes to the Ravens and doesn't really do much, even though did end up with 565 yards on 35 catches last year, which is pretty good numbers there. Only 3 touchdowns. But I think people did believe that he would have a little bit more of an impact for the Ravens, but that was not the case. The big question I have is, how do you view Odell Beckham Jr.? And because the people before me on Fox Sports Radio said, oh, if he doesn't make that catch, the catch is the only reason why we know Odell Beckham Jr. Now, he's a lightning rod because obviously that got my attention where I thought they were downplaying OBJ just a little bit. OBJ is a phenomenal talent, a disgusting wide receiver in his prime. Take a slant, boom, gone, 80 yards to the house. Of course, special teams with just a freak, an absolute freak. Remember the pregame catches? Like, this dude has talent, more talent than like some receiver. Give me the best receivers in the game right now. And Odell Beckham Jr.'s at its height, like compare him to a guy like Justin Jefferson, a guy like Jamar Chase. Talent, and I'm not trying to take a shot at either one of those two because they're phenomenal. But talent alone, I think I give the edge to OBJ. I do. In his prime. He was very Tyreek Hill-ish, right? But obviously doesn't have the numbers to back it up either. As you go down the list, in 2016, he did have 100 catches for over 1,000 yards. In 2015, he did have 96 catches for 1,400 yards. In his rookie season, he did have 91 catches for 1,300 yards. But then it seemed to go downhill after that. Ends up with the Browns, goes back over 1,000-yard mark, back-to-back seasons, only 77 and 74 catches in those respective years. And then it just completely falls off the map. Final season with the Browns, all the issues, as I said, the Rams and the Ravens. So I just wonder where we're at right now as far as OBJ is concerned. He's not going to play first 4 games for the Miami Dolphins. I didn't really have any expectations, but when we look back at his career, what are you going to say about Odell Beckham Jr.? Because the first thing that I'm going to say is he was a head case. He was an absolute head case. But is that fair? Should we focus on the numbers and the ability and the big plays that he made? And I get it. You want to talk about the one catch? Oh, he did more than just the one catch. He had plenty of highlight reel grabs over his career, whether it was with the Giants or the Browns. So it's very interesting, and it was one that definitely caught my attention due to the fact of, as I said, he's a lightning round topic, right? Boom, lightning rod topic. Like, you bring his name up, everyone has a take on that. So that's why I'm curious about you out there. So got some good social media comments coming in on OBJ, including Roy Burton checking in. And he said, all-world wide receiver for the first part of his career, 3 times All-Pro, 5 seasons, 1,000 yards, but hasn't been able to shake the injury monster. A bit underwhelming given the hype, but I think it's just a classic case of super talented guy who just can't stay healthy. And then Ryan Beef Coyle on the flip side of that, most overrated, high-profile receiver of the last 10 years on his 5th team now, too. Sweet catch, though. Bang! Nice work by Coyle and Roy Burton. They understood the assignment on that one. Nice work across the board. Get involved. I want to hear your thoughts at Fox PHL Gamble. We're streaming live YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. You can find us all across the board. And, of course, always streaming on the iHeartRadio app at Fox PHL Gambler. All right, coming up at 4 o'clock, Jon Jansen is going to join the party in studio. He'll be interesting one to get his take on, of course, the Phillies as they will start their game at 4:05, also with the OBJ stuff. But we will discuss on the other side with Julian Edlow from DraftKings Sportsbook some overreactions to week 0 in college football. Also, Julian led us to victory in the Georgia Tech game and set us up for success with a plus 22.5 number for Boston College against Florida State, a game that's a standalone game on Monday. So everybody's going to be fired up the wager on that game. 2 weeks ago, Julian Edlow gave us the direction to fire on a plus 22.5 number. That number is now down to 17. Find out if he still thinks that's a good play or not. We'll talk all things college football on the other side, week 1, with Julian Edlow from DraftKings Sportsbook. The Daily Ticket just getting started here on a Wednesday. More after this.
Get ready to win your way to our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, and $1,000.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, September 20th and 21st.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
Buy tickets now at AXS.com. One of the most anticipated live music events of the year.
You have to see this to believe it.
Brought to you by Hyundai's lineup of electric vehicles, electrifying your summer and your journey to the iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
For Chandler Schuylkill, westbound University Divine and Boulevard to Belmont, eastbound Montgomery Drive to south, 95 north on heavy approach to the Gerard Point Bridge, then stop and go Betsy Ross Bridge, southbound Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. All right, to tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. It's Mattress Firm's best sale of the year. Get a Sleepy's Queen mattress at the lowest price ever, just $89.99. Offer ends Tuesday. In-store pickup only. Hurry and stop by Mattress Firm during their Labor Day sale.
Attention, if you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
For decades, the mafia had New York City in a stranglehold, but the murder of Carmichael Lanti marked the beginning of the end.
It sent the message that we can prosecute these people.
From the minds behind the acclaimed television series, listen to Law and Order: Criminal Justice System on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart Radio app and search Law and Order: Criminal Justice System and start listening.
It's the Marketer's Report. Today, Capital One's Chief Brand Officer, Mark Mentry, weighs in on building loyalty with customers.
Capital One has really worked to create amazing access moments for our customers. We will do sound check parties that only Capital One cardholders can get access to, and we can't pull that off without iHeart.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, insights, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
College football is back. Don't miss any of the action. Jump in at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a full slate of games for week 1. All newbies getting into the college spirit, here's something extra special. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DING. That's code DING for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. Festival.
Don't miss our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival presented by Capital One.
Las Vegas, are you having a good time?
Friday and Saturday, September 20th and 21st. Streaming live only on Hulu. iHeartRadio, let's go! Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
Final score, 24-21.
Yeah! Of course, that was the Georgia Tech call. One more time for the people in the back.
Final score, 24-21.
As my man's voice cracks at the end, and what a call it was. And then we'll ask our next guest the question of the day yesterday. Joining us right now, a man who steered us in the right direction multiple times, in fact, and we're only talking week 0. This is what you get here on the Daily Ticket when Julian Edlow from DraftKings Sportsbook joins us every Wednesday. He told you that Georgia Tech was going to give Florida State a run for their money, and 10.5 was a damn good play. As a matter of fact, when he did tell us, I think we were catching 13.5 at that point in time. And then he said, not only am I giving you Georgia Tech, I'm going to tell you that Boston College will be licking their chops to get a piece of Florida State after that first game in Dublin, Ireland. So look at the 22.5 for Boston College, which is now down to 17. This guy has a crystal ball up there for DraftKings Sportsbook. Julian Edlow joining us right now. Julian, how we doing?
Is it only 17? It touched like 15.5. I want lower.
Wow. Did it drop that much more too? That's insane. I thought I saw.
You can take a peek. I'm in Massachusetts right now, so I can't even see the game because we can't bet a Massachusetts college here. So at the moment, I can't see the DK Sportsbook number. So I will let you tell me what it sits at the moment. Obviously, the plan worked. We got a good number here by about as good a CLV as you're going to get from week 0 to week 1. I kind of wish FSU won by a field goal and was like catching their breath.
Ooh, yeah.
Now they kind of got to make up for the lot, right? So now it's kind of an FSU bounce back spot. A lot of people, or a lot of sharps, I would say, would be laying the shorter number, the discount with FSU. But from what we saw, and maybe Georgia Tech's just really good, and they did do some really good things. They're certainly better than BC. But I didn't love much of what I saw from FSU. Weren't able to run the ball all that well. They should be able to run better against BC. I'm just not a DJU fan, and that's what I mentioned to you guys the last few weeks. I just don't like him at quarterback. He doesn't have many playmakers at receiver, and that's not going to change against BC. So I like Tom Castellanos, the BC quarterback. He ran for 1,000 yards last year. I was kind of surprised he didn't transfer to a bigger name school. Bill O'Brien at coach. But we did the hard part. We got the number. Now we need it to just come through. But depending on how much you played on that, if this winds up anything less than 17, you can always consider playing a little bit back on FSU and go for that middle.
Ooh, that is an interesting angle and one that I did not think about, but you're right. It does feel a little bit differently as with them losing. And everyone is all saying the season isn't over with the 12-team playoff. It's a whole different year, which it is. There's truth behind that, but I'm with you. I was not impressed at all with Florida State. And I know everybody wanted to focus on the beef up front, which looked pretty good in that first drive when they went down there and scored that touchdown. But then they were unable to really be effective stopping the run game. I know it wasn't the highest scoring game at the end of the day, but it felt like Georgia Tech was able to move the ball and control the line of scrimmage. That's one. Two is, as you pointed out, the lack of playmakers and getting vertical for Florida State, to me, was glaring. And that's what was in their bag. That was their bread and butter to a point. Definitely in that Clemson game last year for Florida State. Just throw it up. Those wide receivers are going to make plays. And I just don't see that happening. So regardless, I like BC. That is a standalone game on Monday, Julian. So everybody listening will have action on that. That's how we're shutting down Labor Day weekend. DraftKings showing a 16.5-point line right now as we speak. 16.5 for the Seminoles over BC. 50 is our total.
So a little bit of buyback there. It got whacked down to 17, and then I know somebody came in and hit it down to 15.5, and it's been coming back.
All right. You know what? Let's go ahead and, just real quick, because there wasn't too much, but anything else from week 0? Because you had a great article at dknetwork.com about the overreactions from week 0. Anything catch your attention that we should be, being alert to right now?
Two other minor ones, I guess. Nevada obviously gave SMU a run for its money. Arguably should have won that game, but SMU got a late touchdown. Maybe SMU wouldn't have been in that position if there wasn't the spitting penalty on 4th and 15 that researched a drive for Nevada wound up getting them a touchdown. That was a weird game. But books and a lot of players moved Nevada pretty highly up their power rankings. Troy was a 15.5-point favorite initially. That got down as low as Troy -8. I think it's settled in around 9.5. Maybe a little bit of value on Troy. I want to bet Troy. They just don't. Losing the coach, they lost so many players off that team from last year. Troy's always kind of solid. I would lean that way, but I didn't ultimately get there. And then the other one, again, like the spot is so good. I really want to bet Georgia State +22 against Georgia Tech. But the problem is Georgia Tech did look pretty good, and Georgia State might just be really bad. We don't know yet. They're projected last in their division. Like, if we had a decent team playing Georgia Tech this week, I would say fade Georgia Tech. They're off the high of that win in Ireland. Again, FSU doesn't play till Monday, 9 days between the games. Georgia Tech's got to come home and play on Saturday, just a week between games with the international travel. Lot of points against Georgia State. I wish I could take them. I just fear that Georgia State might be really, really awful. So I didn't get there. But again, that one I believe was 18.5 before Georgia Tech and FSU played. Now you're talking about 22.
So I don't know if you got asked about UNC yet, because I'm jumping into this late, because UNC is an interesting team to me.
No,
because
it's Thursday night, baby.
Because they get Max.
Why are you all sweaty?
Because I've been running around all day handing textbooks to
this guy comes in, his hair is all greased up. Julian,
it's brutal.
Yeah, he joins me mid-show now because he got himself a real job, so he has to come sweating in here now. So we're taking all of his life savings here at the bookstore that he's working at. We're going to put it on this play here, Julian. So steer us in the right direction. UNC in Minnesota.
Yeah, we're seeing your tweet about UNC in Minnesota. I'm interested a little bit in UNC because they do have a really good running back in Hampton. Max Johnson's there, veteran kind of quarterback who has played a lot of college football. You have been talking about this line movement a little bit. What do you make of UNC and Minnesota?
Okay. I'm glad you're asking me about this game. I'm in the middle of my article right now that I'm putting out, my breakdown for this game. Stick with me here because, again, so we're talking CLV and like betting these games early. I like betting these games early. I bet a lot of them. We got the good number on BC. I have over 62 in the LSU game, good number. West Virginia +10.5, good number. And so on. But we can't get them all right. I played Minnesota +2.5 like a couple months ago. I was like, I think Minnesota at home should be about a 3-point favorite here. On Saturday, Minnesota was a 3-point favorite. All right, got what we were looking for here. It's now back to UNC -2.5. And I missed the boat a little bit on the number, but I bought back for double my bet on UNC -125 money line. So I'm now rooting for UNC in this game. Obviously it's always weird when you flip flop. It's like, well, why'd you do that? There's the rumblings that Minnesota is going to be without some guys in this game. And among those names is their best offensive player, their starting running back, also their lead receiver from last year. And I think this 5.5 point line move over the last 3 days, whatever, indicates those guys aren't going to be out there. So that's how I'm operating. And again, like, I'm going to have to eat a little bit of juice here because I'm buying off, but whatever. We got good numbers on a handful of other games because of it. This is just kind of part of the process. But UNC, again, you got more of a veteran quarterback there, even though it's a transfer. He hasn't blown me away, Max Johnson, but at least a veteran. He started 22 games in SEC play, I think, over the years. Hampton, the running back, should be huge for them in this game. Good offensive line, decent defense. And again, I just think Minnesota, like, I was ready to roll with the FCS quarterback that they're bringing in from New Hampshire because he had some of those weapons. And if they're not going to be out there, now you're making your first start in FBS coming from New Hampshire. Again, this kid's supposed to be pretty good, but I don't know if I can trust him without his weapons out there. So ultimately, hopefully that makes sense. I'm coming back the other way. I think UNC is the better team, and I'm going to trust them even in a road Thursday night atmosphere to get the season started.
Yeah, with that line movement, as you said, 5.5. It's like, okay, so in our, generally speaking terms here, you're only going to see line movement like that of substance for two reasons: money or injuries, right? And I guess one would probably follow the other. Don't get me wrong, but like with this being the first game, it has to be injuries, correct?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
Like, Minnesota beat writers are kind of starting to hint at it, and it hasn't been confirmed, and Minnesota doesn't confirm it until 2 hours before kick. So there's just no reason.
Yeah.
But if there's those rumblings coming and beat reporters are starting to write up these guys not being able to play, and you've got that steep of a move, I'm just kind of piecing it together here.
Yep.
That we're probably going to see confirmation at, 8 o'clock kick. So tomorrow at like 6, those tweets are going to come out that Minnesota's down, 3, 4, 5 starters. And then maybe we're seeing UNC lay over a field goal here.
All right. Yeah, DKNetwork.com will be looking for that article from Julian Edlow. Oh, by the way, let me plug myself because I will be on Fox 29 tomorrow after Minnesota and UNC. Good grief. So that's going to be midnight. But keep the television locked there so you can see my ugly face. All right, Julian, let's stay with Thursday night action. I'm curious to know your handicap on this one because, of course, all eyes are on Colorado with everything that's happening with Deion in the last year and specifically in the last 2 weeks, too. But there's nothing new with that. But we're talking about a team with North Dakota State and the FCS, and we just had that situation this past weekend where Montana State but they played their first game. And I'm just curious from the handicapper perspective, when you see an FCS team like North Dakota State, who continues to play throughout the course of December's over the past 5 to 10 years that I can remember, we know that they're a damn good program. But here they are, 10-point dogs. And we know that Colorado is going to be buzzing and that their stars are going to be out and all eyes are going to be in Boulder, Colorado. So like your handicap on this one has to be all over the place when you break down the intangibles in this game. Take us behind the scenes, if you wouldn't mind, when you looked at that game, where you're at right now, Colorado, North Dakota State. I want to say it was 10. Let me just get the updated. Yeah, 9.5. We're down to 9.5 now.
It touched 10. For a bit.
Your handicap in that game, as difficult as it is, where are you at right now with that one?
Yeah, I'm probably going to steer clear of this game. And as you would imagine, this is the most bet game of week one. Part of that is because it's Thursday night and we got to wait for the weekend for the rest. But, it's also because it's Colorado. Again, like ultimately I'm a fade on Colorado. People just keep betting them and they're not that good. But it's week one. They won as 21-point underdogs in week one last week. So maybe Coach Prime is, strong at getting them prepared for season openers when he has that extra time. And it's FBS game. Like as good as North Dakota State is for what they are, like that Montana State game, like, sure, they came back and won, but that was against a New Mexico team that's like one of the worst teams in the nation in terms of just going FBS. So Colorado's at least decent. They have an electric offense. They have Travis Henry, they can throw all around the field. Like, I think Colorado, again, they've heard all the noise all off season about how overrated they are and, you know, how they fell apart last year. Like, they have plenty of reasons that they could come out and look pretty good. They have some elite athletes, obviously, that, you know, can play at levels that the kids from North Dakota State just can't. So I think we very well could see Colorado come out and look pretty good once again. And then the hype train gets going, and then, you know, it's another, 5-7 season.
Yeah, I mean, it could. The one thing I'm interested in seeing, though, is definitely the line of scrimmage when it comes to that game, because that's where Colorado struggled. They struggled up front, defensive line, offensive line, and it seemed like North Dakota State actually does pretty well for an FCS team. Like, they've been able to beat FBS teams before because they were so beefed up front, as we like to say around here. So, yeah, that game I'm really interested in. Are there any, I mean, we're seeing a bunch of talk with Colorado. Are we looking ahead potentially in kind of betting these games as well? Maybe taking, you know, fading them ahead in week 2 or whatever numbers or lines are out?
Yeah. So, I mean, week 2 is Nebraska again, right? Do I have that right? They played Nebraska last year in week 2.
Wow.
And Colorado won that game. That was the game where, you know, that was the pros versus Joes game where pros said you got to fade Colorado. All the public is on them after the SMU win, and Colorado got it done again. But Nebraska should be pretty good this year. 7.5 win total. Like, if there's a year Nebraska is back, this should be that year. Not to mention that revenge factor from last year. So yeah, I'll kind of stick to my idea of maybe Colorado looks good on Thursday, and then you start fading them and say I would lean towards Nebraska in that.
Oh, by the way,
Nebraska
is 6.5 point favorite in that game too on DraftKings right now.
Yep, 6.5. You got to lay with them. So
woo!
I would lean to the Nebraska side there, and then as we go down the road, like you're looking at. I think it's single-digit point spreads when Colorado faces teams like Kansas State and Utah in Big 12 play. I would say that those teams should win those games by double digits.
All right, Julian. I'll allow you to take us where you want as far as other games that are on your radar, but I have to ask you about Penn State kicking things off at noon on Saturday as an 8-point favorite in West Virginia. 51.5 is our total on DraftKings Sportsbook. Of course, there are a lot of expectations for James Franklin this year in a difficult Big Ten just to make the playoffs. That's all that people are asking him to do, but that's easier said than done, even with the addition of these the 12-team playoff. It all gets started. It could get derailed, too, in Morgantown. Your thoughts on that game, and if you're wagering on anything as far as Penn State, West Virginia is concerned, where do you stand?
If Penn State doesn't make the playoff, it's probably because they lose this game.
Wow.
And I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying they won't. But I am on West Virginia plus 10.5 here. Again, that's one you put out. The number works. It's touched as low as 7.5. Saw a little resistance, and now it sits at 8 on DK Sportsbook. I don't hate the spot for West Virginia. Again, West Virginia almost covered on the road last year. Franklin ran a play in at the end of the game to essentially get the cover. There's no other reason to do it. Otherwise, he would have taken a knee. And after that, you know, West Virginia was good as a dog. They won, or they went 4-1 against the spread in their next 5 games that they were priced as an underdog. 3-2 straight up in those games. So they won some 3 games last year priced as an underdog. They have, again, when you go through Phil Steele's magazine, I like to look at offensive line strength. West Virginia ranks his 11th offensive line in the nation. They bring back an elite veteran O-line. They also returned 3 700-yard rushers from last year. The top 2 running backs and the quarterback, Green, all ran for over 700 yards. Green only threw 4 interceptions last year, so he didn't really make mistakes. I think Penn State can limit the mistakes run the ball and keep this a one-possession game.
All right. Well, now down to 8, as you said. So the number on the move, we'll keep our eyes on that one. All right. And then, Julian, as far as other week 1 plays that you're eyeing up, we do have the Colorado State already locked in. That's down to 32 now. I believe I got it at 32.5 last week when you did drop that on us with Texas. Of course, we are firing on that one. All things Julian Edlow here. But is there another game or two that you're looking at for week 1 here in college football?
Yeah, a couple. So I did play the over in LSU USC at 62. That's up a couple points. Still don't mind it.
Fireworks.
But also would look at USC. USC on the side or USC team total over. I think the team total is 29.5. They only stayed under that 3 times last season. One was against Oregon. One was against Notre Dame, like elite defenses. And the other one was the last game of the year against USC when they just kind of threw their against UCLA, where they just kind of threw their hands up in the air and quit on the season. They scored 42 points against a good Louisville defense in the bowl game with Miller Moss at quarterback. I think USC is going to be pretty good this year, score some points. You can look at that one. And then the other two, another total, actually, I did play under 47 at -120. That was the alternate number because it was 46.5 on DK Sportsbook. Under 47 in Notre Dame and Texas A&M. Flip-flopped on the side all summer. Ultimately, Notre Dame losing some crucial O-linemen. They're starting all freshmen and sophomores on the O-line, very inexperienced. And you got, the core of Texas A&M's team should be the D-line. And Elko comes from Duke, going against Riley Leonard, the quarterback from Duke, knows him well. I think Texas A&M should limit Notre Dame offensively. And then on the other side, Notre Dame brings back 9 defensive starters. They're always a defense-first team. And, we don't know what Texas A&M's offense is. So I think that one will see a lower scoring game. And then the last one, Florida.
Ooh.
The Miami hype. Getting out of control. Getting out of control. They're going Gators at home in the swamp. You can take the points. You can play them on the money line. Woo! I don't care. We got a 9.5 win team and a 4.5 win team on the win totals. But if we want to look at just overall ranking, power ratings, Phil Steele power rates, Florida is the 19th team in the country. At home in the swamp, everybody's talking about Miami. I will take the Gators there.
Ooh, where you zig, Julian will zag, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. Well, that's a good one. That's definitely we'll be getting the dominant screen at 3:30 on Saturday. A lot of great games, a lot of action to wager on, and a lot of really cool promos that DraftKings is rolling out there for, of course, the start of college football. So, folks, take advantage of every one of those. I just got one sent to my inbox where essentially, no sweat week 1 bet. Get a bonus bet back if your college football team loses. So how about that? Sign up over at DraftKings Sportsbook. And read Julian at DKNetwork.com. Be sure to follow him, all one word, at Julian Edlow as well. Julian, I can't thank you enough, man. My daughter is going to college because of that Georgia Tech winner. And you are the best. It was such an easy win, an enjoyable win, and the first game of the year. So it's all uphill from here, right?
It's good to win the first one.
Yes,
that's always. Now we do the hard part.
You're the best, Julian. Good luck on those plays, man. And can't thank you enough for popping up on here. We'll continue to read you, and we'll catch up next week, sir.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk next week.
My man, there he is. Once again, Julian Edlow, DraftKings Sportsbook. Dude, I love when a plan comes together like the A-team, right? And it was funny because we discussed that game for Georgia Tech and Florida State, and I only put it in the back of my mind because of the next game. Like, that was his deal. When he gave us that play, that breakdown 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, he also said, oh, by the way, I love Georgia Tech catching the points, but it's about the week 2 game. Now, it does take a little bit of a hit because Florida State loses outright, and I think he's spot on with that. But these are the angles. These are, the spots that you got to look at. And you got teams that are looking ahead. You got teams that are catching the hype. You got teams that have no business catching 10.5 or giving 10.5 points like Florida State. And Julian is on the right side of a lot of those. So great breakdowns and really intrigued about Florida and Miami because that's two teams that brought in new coaches, I think the same year, right? Cristobal from Oregon, I believe.
I want to say it was similar. I think Cristobal might have been a year after.
Okay. Well, basically
very, very close.
Both of those programs are looking at those coaches in the same light.
Oh, yeah,
If
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
turn it around this
Yes.
year, you might be on your way out. Cam Ward is getting a lot of buzz. A lot of people are loving Cam Ward, possibly talking about him being an NFL quarterback on Sundays. Florida has a great wide receiver. Their defense is a little bit suspect, but the game is in the Swamp. It's a 2.5 point spread. So
the Swamp is like mystical as it used to be. I'm saying
It's
that as somebody
still a
that literally
road
covered a
game.
game in the Swamp, where a school who had no business being in a game against Florida almost beat them.
Tim Tebow
And I know that
ain't
was like
walking
almost
through that
10 years
door.
ago. Right. Tim Tebow, Chris Leak, like all those guys aren't walking through that door anymore.
It's funny.
You know, that's not been a hard place to win. It's not been a hard place to play.
No, you're
so
right.
I kind of initially was with Julian a lot is the Miami hype's going to be way too hyped up, but Florida also still like they get power rated too high by guys like Phil Steele. And it's not like they're wrong because they get a lot of great talent. They recruit well. They're in a hotbed for recruiting. So they get a lot of great talent. What do they do with that talent though? You know, they just had a running back, Travis Etienne's brother, Trevor Etienne, who transfers to Georgia. A player from Florida transferred to Georgia.
Wild.
Like it's crazy that players from Florida are transferring out and really good players transferring out because they have better opportunities with better teams. Florida's just not that team. So they're always going to have good skill position players. They're always going to have some solid defensive linemen, offensive linemen because they're recruiting really well in those areas, but they just never have either the coaching to do it or anybody to develop them. I don't know what it is. They just haven't put it together. I think the same thing for Miami because they get a guy like De'Ara King, what was it last year, a few years ago, where there was a lot of hype there for De'Ara King because of what he did in Houston, transfers to Miami, and it was just okay. It wasn't great. But Cam Ward, I think, is much better, and this isn't just Miami getting an okay quarterback. This is Miami getting a legit NFL prospect in Cam Ward, who did some pretty spectacular things at Washington State at a place that you don't really win all that often in Washington State. That's a talented quarterback. It's going to take one of those guys, and Cristobal's the better coach as well in this matchup, even though he makes some boneheaded mistakes. Still, it's going to take one quarterback to really change a program like that, and I think Miami might have that quarterback.
It's going to be a fun game, and as we said, Beef checking, and both were 2021, Lang and
2021. Okay, yeah, okay.
And Cristobal, same season, same year. So
Cristobal feels so much. It doesn't feel like Cristobal has been there all that long.
No, and if you honestly, I will say this, and I'm wrong, but point blank, whoever loses this game, if you polled every one of those fans from that fan base, they'd say, fire the coach now.
Gone.
Like Cristobal, see ya. Don't care. Move on.
And it's not even wait for the season to keep going. If you lose this, it's almost immediate. Get out of here.
We'll see. That's at 3:00. Let's go. I can hear the SEC music on CBS.
No, whoa, no.
It's switched. It's switched. It's right. No, and no Vern anymore. Oh my God. Why are they messing with this?
Why are you messing with tradition? Do you know how jarring that's going to be? When it's Big Ten football, you hear and it's
money.
What is it? Who is it? Brad Nessler.
They took,
and he's going to be calling Big Ten. He's going to be calling like Penn State.
Oh, they took
West Virginia or
all
something.
They care about is money. They took all of our feelings and emotions and everything that we care about, and they just crumbled it up and threw it away in the wastebasket to the corner, and all for the almighty dollar. Damn.
I mean,
what about the fans?
Ruined one of the greatest traditions in all of college. 4:00 game, SEC. Like, did you imagine the Iron Bowl kick return not being on CBS?
No.
Could you imagine that being on ESPN? It wouldn't hit nearly as well.
Could you imagine streaming on Amazon?
Don't start.
Yeah, that's coming.
Don't start. I know. Just this is already a big enough move for me, Sean.
Yeah.
One thing at a time for me to cope with.
All right. Hey, more college football talk coming up on the other side with Jansen in studio for the next hour. Also at 5:00, the big brains, Mark Henry Jr., Ryan Beefquill, and Joe Tanzi. They sat down, recorded all things college football episode, so that's coming your way at 5:00. Swinging and Dang It, brand new episode for all you PGA Tour folks out there. Big one for me. this weekend with the swinging and ding at one and done. I'll hit you with a little of that on the way out here. Give you my golfer that I am choosing to ride with one final event where the purse could be anywhere from 2,500 to a G to maybe walking away with 100. I don't know. Maybe there's a chance that I could probably lose it all. If my guy misses the cut, I might not get any cash, but this is a big one. Unfortunately, I took a little bit of a hit last week, and I'll get you caught up on that one. Still in second place.
Okay. There you go.
Yes, but first place, it was right there. I was
better than third place. But you room for improvement.
We'll see how it plays out. All right, we got a lot to discuss, including Odell Beckham Jr. How do you feel about him when you discuss his career as a whole? And the Phillies and the Astros.
They're back?
They get started at 4:05. Yep, they're back. They're back in action, too.
Oh, yeah.
Lot to do. Don't go anywhere. More daily ticket after this.
Experience the joy of giving with Ticks for Good. How would you like to win 2 tickets to the Taylor Swift concert in Miami on October 20th at Hard Rock Stadium? Go to ticksforgood.org to learn how you can enter to win. This incredible prize is brought to you by Payday Employer Solutions. Remember, Payday has got your back. Visit ticksforgood.org. That's ticksforgood.org. Find out how you can win 2 tickets to see Taylor Swift in concert October 20th at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami.
Help the planet with a tip from iHeartRadio Earth. Education doesn't just take place in the classroom. There are many ways children of all ages can learn about sustainability and the environment at home. Visit iHeartRadio.com/Earth for a list of resources, activity guides, and toolkits that are educational and fun for the whole family. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
Hello, I'm Scott Strauss. On 9/11, I was a New York City police officer assigned to finding survivors buried under the rubble of the World Trade Center. Those were difficult days, but what kept me going was seeing the way Americans joined together in unity. It didn't matter if you were a Democrat or Republican or anything else. For 9/11 this year, now a National Day of Service, let's rekindle that spirit of unity by doing good deeds. Visit 911day.org to learn more.
So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
It's Mattress Firm's best sale of the year. Get a Sleepy's Queen mattress at the lowest price ever, just $89.99. Offer ends Tuesday. In-store pickup only. Hurry and stop by Mattress Firm during their Labor Day sale. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by DraftKings Fantasy Sports.
After being labeled a potential cut candidate, Eagle safety James Bradbury made the final roster. GM Howie Roseman says it came down to football IQ. The Union are back on the pitch tonight. They'll host Columbus. Philly beat Atlanta before the Olympic break to stop their 10-match winless streak. And LeBron James has one rule for Sun and Lakers teammate Bronny, and that's not to call him dad when they're at work. I'm Scott Davidson.
Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Traffic's crawling westbound Schuylkill Fair to the Pine Expressway with a disabled vehicle in the left lane. Eastbound jam Blue Route to Belmont and Boulevard to University. 95 northbound back to the airport to Broad Street and Allegheny to Bridge. Southbound jam Cottman to the Betsy Ross. Ira Tutela, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need at the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they're guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Your home for Villanova basketball is WDAS and WD273D. Fox Sports Radio Philadelphia.
Final score, 24-21.
Yeah. Daily Ticket with you here. Now, Jansen's with us in studio for the next hour, and a man who knows a thing or two when it comes to broadcasting excellence. Here's the question, Jon Jansen. His call was so good.
Final score, 24-21.
And then he did not land it. He failed to land the dismount. So, would you include? Now, his call was great. You have to take my word for it as I snipped it all the way down.
Okay, yeah. I didn't get much of it.
It was tremendous.
Okay.
Oh, it's not the luck of the Irish. It's the heart of the Yellow Jacket.
Too much Ireland. Joe Tessitore, who I love as a broadcaster, was doing too much of the Ireland stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's all right.
We don't always have to make puns about the things that the places we're in. Like, I think even Noah Eagle took it too far with the Olympics.
Oh, God, yeah, he did.
It was, come on, dude. Every single time somebody makes a shot, you got to have some type of one-liner to go with it.
Yeah.
We don't need that all the time.
Yeah.
You don't need to always have that.
Now, would you include that call on your highlight reel if your voice cracked?
No.
It's dead? You can't use it. It's done.
Yeah, because I feel like he missed a moment. I feel like this guy probably already has great highlight tapes. And I know it's a big moment.
Georgia Tech's play-by-play announcer.
Pretty good. Yeah, but that's a major. That's ACC Power 5 Division I football. That's a good job.
All day. I'm not saying that. I'm saying from the standpoint of what has Georgia Tech done.
I mean, they were decent last year. Could even be better this year.
They beat Miami. Yeah, they beat Miami.
That's
probably the biggest call he's had. There's nothing compared to that call.
I imagine his call was really good when Miami fumbled, because that was the game Miami fumbled late in that one. Yeah, I imagine that was an awesome call.
Anyways,
but that one, no, it's just almost you missed the moment.
Yeah. All right. Well, you didn't miss the moment. We're gonna do some concert talk real quick here. Creed Friday.
I legitimately witnessed history on Friday.
Why would you
with
say
Creed? That was their largest selling crowd ever
at Hershey Park.
At Hershey Park Stadium. Largest selling crowd. Sean, guess how many?
20,000.
Nope.
40,000.
30,000. 30,000, including Jon Jansen at Hershey Park Stadium. Scott sounded unbelievable.
I really don't give a
So Scott, I've heard Scott before in 2017 in Fayetteville, North Carolina. One of the worst shows I've been to. It was the Make America Rock Again tour. Scott Stapp was the headliner. There was maybe 50 people there. Awful, awful show. And Scott Stapp sounded about as awful as you imagine Scott Stapp would sound without Creed. He sounded phenomenal. This was one of the best rock shows I have ever been to.
Wow.
They were electric. The band sounds great. The band's already been touring together still. The Scott Stapp wasn't with them, but they've been touring together without Scott Stapp for over 20 years. It was one of the great rock shows. I don't think rock has been injected with this much life from a tour since maybe when Guns N' Roses came back.
Oh, calm down.
Since maybe when Guns N' Roses came back.
Taiwan Walker already. Oh, I thought it was gone.
Oh my gosh, Taiwan Walker. Yeah, I'm in my own prison watching Taiwan.
Yeah,
Taiwan
we all
Walker.
are.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Look, Creed, isn't there a little bit of like,
What other rock band right now could rock band?
Understood.
Not like pop rock, rock band.
Well,
hard rock and roll can sell 30,000.
It's funny you say that.
I mean, Metallica.
Because I think there's ways of going about it and revisiting these great bands from back in the day. And again, Creed had a huge following. Creed, of course, like I'm struggling to find the term that I'm looking for.
It's even bigger now, and I don't know how that happened.
But it's kind of like you goof on them too. It's like the Nickelback vibe to a point. And you might not agree with this because you're a Creed head.
I am a Creed fan.
But the thing is yes, people are like, people are having fun with it, and that's fine. But
I think it's starting to change. You're right for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's easy to play those on TikTok, but I think there is a legitimate appreciation that those songs are awesome to just blast out. Like One Last Breath I see on TikTok all the time. And it is usually jokes and stuff and how they're using it. But yeah, it's stuff like this. It was being used as a joke, but I do think people seem like they like music actually, especially One Last Breath. That chorus hits, and how can you not sing "Hold Me Now"? I'm 6 feet. That's amazing. So it is a bit of a joke, and I think more of what the joke is Scott Stapp is really easy to make fun of.
Yes,
because Scott Stapp is over the top. But the music is actually
no doubt
pretty darn good.
No doubt about that. And I would say I went to a concert last night. And I'm not going to say
I'm surprised about yours.
This is a great band, and they had their run, and they have some great albums. I would say Creed was a bigger band, of course, but you can't
Creed was
deny
definitely a bigger
that
band.
Incubus had a great run, and
I'm just
Pardon
what
Me
have they
and
done?
Stellar.
Yeah, great stuff.
But
what have they done recently? How are they selling?
My point is exactly the things that these bands are doing now. Incubus sold out the Wells Fargo Center on a Tuesday night.
I would have never believed that.
Packed. There wasn't an open seat. All, in my opinion, and Coheed and Cambria opened up from, or how do you say that?
Coheed and Cambria.
And they were good too, but it wasn't, people weren't really there to see them. Trust me. It was because they played the Morning View album from start to finish. So that was the theme last night. Morning View album from start to finish.
I love when bands do that.
Oh, it was awesome.
Because then you get to hear so many deep cuts.
It was so good.
The last time Creed was together, they did that. They would do back-to-back nights. They would do the first album one night and then the second album the second night.
Dude, it was.
And I love that idea. And bands have started to do that a lot more.
And that's my point. My point is that when you change things up and try and switch it up a little bit and give you something different than just like, oh yeah, that band is coming through again. I feel like there's a vibe. There's more people that want to go out and see it. Like if Incubus is just showing up on a Tuesday night at the Wells Fargo Center, I don't believe that it would have been that packed. But it was the fact that they were playing Morning View from start to finish.
I agree with that. Yeah,
dude, and it was so good. Like it blew away everything I expected. Brandon Boyd sounded great. The drums were so pure. Like it was in every one of those songs.
It's amazing that those bands can still sound great because Scott Stapp's got to be in his 50s.
Dude, it was
and
so
sounded better than ever. I think he probably sounded better than some of his stuff back in because I've watched a bunch of Creed live videos. And the band itself, I mean, the band itself has been touring together for 20 something years after Creed, and they said that it was a phenomenal sounding rock show. And that's just, it is crazy to me how you're right. Incubus and Creed. And now Oasis is going to have, Oasis had to have seen what some of these bands are doing and go, come on, we can make so much money.
Oasis,
right now.
They're crazy.
I know. Yes. I forget which one is crazy. Which one's the crazy?
Both out of their minds.
I thought there was one that was more crazy than the other.
Who knows? But they've been broken up for 20 years now, I believe.
They've been broken up for a very long time.
And it's like people look at them, especially across the way. And
is Oasis kind of overrated?
I think so.
They have good songs, but everybody thinks of them as like the Beatles. sometimes. That type of like
Over
stratosphere.
over there
for
Not
sure.
here though, but over there.
I think there are some people over here that put them on a pedestal. I'm like, they're fine, great, like pop rock from the 90s, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, and I think that they would be stupid if they didn't try and cash in on that, and they are for next year, 2025, and everybody is talking about it. It was all over the place, and they're not even coming to the States. They're not even, I don't think they're coming to the States. I think it's all across the way. So it's pretty funny, but yeah, man, they got a huge buzz right now, and good for them. I don't know if they're going to keep their heads together, but
probably not. Thankfully, it's only 5 shows I saw, something like that, a handful of shows. So a little test run before it all happens.
All right. So you recommend Creed then, huh?
I actually can recommend that very easily. It's not just it was a decent show, it was great to create, but it was a legitimately great rock show. And it's hard to find good rock shows now, or at least hard rock shows that are selling like that. I haven't seen that in a while. And I go to hard rock shows all the time, and it's in 5,000 person venues. I think Disturbed maybe gets the most, but Disturbed can't really even sell like they used to. What I saw from Creed into Hershey was something I don't think I've seen from a hard rock band that wasn't Guns N' Roses or Metallica in a very, very long time.
Well, the Phillies are off and running. And
great start.
Taijuan Walker is a disaster. Just get him off the team already. This is so easy to see. And I get it. It's August 28th, so you want to start him because you're paying him a boatload of money and you need somebody to eat some innings here. But there has to be somebody in the minor leagues that you could bring up that.
I thought they already have.
Right?
Like Kobe Allard can do this.
This is just,
wasn't it Mercado the other guy? He can do this.
It's ridiculous. He's just so bad. He's throwing 91 mile per hour meatballs over the middle of the plate. And regardless of what happens, they're down 1-0 at the end of the first inning. But regardless, even if he shuts them down from here on out, this dude is cooked. And the faster that the Phillies say, you know what, we don't need your services anymore, the better off they will be. So I've had enough. He just threw over the first base with Altuve leading off on third, and Altuve
a nonchalant throw
races home and scores. It's just more of that. Anyways, all right, we hit on some games.
Man, you are knocking out those cream savers.
No, I just my second one.
Okay, all right,
second one.
That's all I've seen in this studio, and you have a huge roll of them.
Did you see my video yesterday?
I did. The iconic candy.
I ate 12 of them for that video.
Did you really eat 12?
You only get one take on that. Yes, I stuffed 12 of these in my mouth to give you the iconic sweet moment.
You would fit. They would be finished, and then, or you just fit 12.
No, I just keep going until I finished the highlight. So I was.
Oh my!
Just ripping them. Boom, boom, boom.
Do you like? Boom. I like cream savers. I used to like cream savers more than I used to. I'm finding myself liking more of the sour taste.
Oh,
there's a sour iconic candy that I'm really liking. But I used to love cream savers, and now my palate doesn't take to it like it used to.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's still good. It's still amazing.
Yeah.
I love cream savers, but I used to love cream savers.
All right. Let's talk about Odell Beckham Jr. And I want to know your thoughts on that.
I can't believe he got brought up.
Give me 60 seconds. Yeah, because the guys before me really put it in my ear, and they were ripping on him. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, you guys are way undervaluing him, not giving him the proper respect, because OBJ had some great years and put up some serious numbers. And oh, by the way, athleticism out the wazoo. So for those guys to go, and it's Covino and Rich, who don't talk a damn bit of sports ever, but God bless them. They were able to get the gig.
God bless them.
Yeah. Like anytime you tune in, they are doing anything but talking sports.
But sports.
Yeah. So they get into the Odell Beckham Jr. and he's like, well, if he didn't have the catch, is there any substance with his career? And that's
stupid.
Yeah, that tells you all you need to know about them, right?
He had 3 straight seasons to start his career.
He's an all-pro.
1,300 yards or more, and only one of those seasons he played all 16.
He's an all-pro. 3 straight years, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when we look back at OBJ's career, what are we saying?
It's not the career you would expect. He still has a career of 7,900 yards.
Yeah.
That's not nothing to sneeze at. No, he's not Calvin Johnson. He's not even going to be what Justin Jefferson likely is going to be at the end of his career. But 7,900 yards is still a pretty damn good career. And I think it would have been even better if it wasn't. I think you said Roy Burton said this. It was injuries mostly.
Injuries, yeah.
But think of what teams he did it on. This wasn't the New York Giants that were winning Super Bowls. This was afterwards when Tom Coughlin was on the way out, when Ben McAdoo came in and was benching and not benching Eli and ended like his whole streak. Then they're at the end of Eli's career. It was a complete mess. OBJ walked into a situation with the Giants where they were an absolute mess of an organization, and they really have been since. They haven't really gotten it together all that much since. So that played a part in it, and he still had 1,300, 1,400 yards. So, yes, in the prime of his career, he was just as good as what you see from Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, guys that you were naming. You absolutely saw that kind of play. And to pretend that he wasn't crazy. I mean, just look back at it. He was a number one wide receiver. He was one of the best, maybe the best in the league. And all the numbers show it. Again, Sean, he had 1,300 yards in 11 games started in 12 games overall in 1 year. That's 108.8 yards per game.
Yep.
That's stupid. And then the next year, 1,400 yards in 15 games. So the guy was elite. The guy was just as good as what we say with all the others. But now knowing what happens at the end of his career, yeah, he fizzled out because of the injuries. He wasn't anything of what we all thought he was going to be. But still, the talent was there. And he not only was talented, it's not that he didn't live up to it. He was talented and showed it on the field. It's injuries took it away mostly.
Yeah. No, you're right. And
you can't tell me, like, just to go back and say that one catch defined his career. One catch was the one we remember because it's one of the most ridiculous catches we've ever seen. So yes, that's going to be something that dominates the highlights of OBJ. But actually, if you want to go back and watch him play or to watch his highlight tapes, you'll realize, oh, this guy was a stud.
He was ridiculous
all the time.
I said this earlier, and I don't know where, like, to get it all out in its totality, but like athleticism at OBJ in his peak, which is a combination of athleticism and actually production. Good. I would put him up there against any of the receivers in the game today. That's Justin Jefferson. That is Devontae. That is Tyreek Hill. That is Jamar Chase. That is CeeDee Lamb. I would put OBJ up against any of them. That's where I stand.
He would be in those conversations. And the only reason he's not, or everybody loves the other guys better, is because they've won. But that's completely unfair to put on a player, especially a wide receiver, that Jamar Chase has been to a Super Bowl. You know, Odell Beckham Jr. actually got to a Super Bowl, but nobody credits him for being as good as he was in the Super Bowl. But for the most part, Odell Beckham Jr. in the prime of his career, in the first 3 years when he put up all those numbers, were on three pretty awful teams. And I think Ben McAdoo, he went 11-5 one season there initially. But for the most part, it was awful with Ben McAdoo. We know how bad it got. So, yeah, he just doesn't get credit because he never really won in his career. And then the year that they won, or that he was on a winning team, he just wasn't good enough for people to give credit to. It's completely, I think, looking at revisionist history to look at it and just go, look at what he's doing now and go, well, that's what he was. No, he was much better than that.
All right. Enough OBJ talk for one day, but it was good.
That is definitely enough OBJ.
A really interesting piece to discuss. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Probably not. 5 years of 1,000 yards is pretty good, but no. Especially because a guy like Jimmy Smith
he's
is
not
in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Jimmy Smith has 1,200 yards, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
12,000
yards, my fault. 12,000 yards.
And Jimmy Smith was a badass.
Absolute stud in the NFL.
Yes, he was. Him and Keenan Allen, right? Keenan
McCardell.
Thank you, Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen played some football. Played a long time.
Let's talk.
Keenan McCardell was very good.
Yes, he was. Great combo down there. Real quick, if we could hit us 60 seconds on this. Unfortunately, we did have a losing play today, and it was Justin Fields is not starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 1. Russell Wilson got the nod. What is the determining factor if you had the truth serum? If you sat down with Mike Tomlin and he was honest with you, what do you think he's saying there?
This is old school, and this is the stuff Mike Tomlin gets criticized for. But also the reason he kind of keeps a job and keeps the Steelers kind of around the conversation.
Well said.
Is because he's going to play the guy that's experienced, the guy that doesn't give him all the upside in the world, but knows he could probably win a football game or two because Russell Wilson, is going to be the experienced veteran, maybe not turn the ball over. Kind of if Russell Wilson plays like he did last year with Denver, which wasn't, I don't think, very good, and Sean Payton wanted more, which is obviously why he let him go, but Mike Tomlin would take that any day. You're taking care of the football. You're just making the plays within the system that you need to. They're not running a particularly hard system. Matt Canada didn't run a hard system last year. Arthur Smith's not going to run anything crazy. It's going to be a lot of play action, stuff that Russell Wilson's just going to roll out to his right and look for a 1 or 2 read, like a high-low read, and that's it. Like, Russell Wilson isn't going to be asked to do much. All he's going to be asked to do is move the offense a little bit. You're going to hand the ball off. Don't turn the ball over. Justin Fields is a little bit more of a loose cannon because he has this explosive ability, but with explosive ability, especially with a quarterback that is sometimes not the best decision maker, is they get themselves in a lot of bad spots. And Mike Tomlin isn't one to be patient with that. He doesn't want to do that. That's why he's okay with getting a guy like Kenny Pickett and letting him play for a couple of years, because Kenny Pickett doesn't have the ability to try and throw in, deep balls or try and throw into spaces he shouldn't. Kenny Pickett's just going to run the offense the way it is because he can't do anything else. And with Russell Wilson at this point in his career, that's all he can do. So all Mike Tomlin's doing is what old school Mike Tomlin's going to do: go with the experienced guy, the guy that he think can win him a few extra football games, even though it's fruitless because that's 8 games, 9 games, and you're really going to be nothing. When I think you have an opportunity to look at a quarterback that can maybe win you more if you're patient enough, which, by the way, they are.
Well said. I agree with everything, and I still thought it was worth a wager because, again, the chance there was injury for Russell Wilson, another calf injury, he's not playing. Oh, by the way, it's plus 380,
and because conventionally it makes
300.
sense. The only thing that doesn't make sense in this case was it's the Steelers. Yeah. But for the most part, every other team would go for Justin Fields because they want to see what they have in the younger quarterback who has actually been showing some signs of getting better, that has this huge potential upside that Russell Wilson completely doesn't have anymore. That's gone to the wayside.
All right, we got some other games we'll be breaking down for all things college football week 1 and some NFL conversation as well. A lot to do.
Football!
Yeah, football is back. It's a beautiful thing. So we'll do that on the other side. Keep you up to date what's happening at Citizens Bank Park. It's a hot one out there today. And coming up at 5 o'clock, college football with the big brains.
Hey.
And at 6 o'clock, swing it and ding it. We got you covered right here on The Gambler. More after this.
Get ready to win your way to our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, and $1,000.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, September 20th and 21st.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
Buy tickets now at AXS.com. One of the most anticipated live music events of the year.
You have to see this to believe it. Brought to you by Hyundai's lineup of electric vehicles, electrifying your summer and your journey to the iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We've got 2 disabled vehicles on the Schuylkill, 1 westbound, 1 eastbound. Westbound traffic barely moving there to the Vine Expressway. A broken down car has the left lane blocked. Then eastbound jam Blue Route to Belmont and Boulevard to South. In that delay at Montgomery, there's a disabled vehicle in the center lane. We're busy on the Vine Expressway both ways. Schuylkill to Broad, 95 northbound heavy from the airport to Broad Street, and Jan Allegheny up to Bridge. Southbound delays, Cotman to the Batsy Ross, and approaching Penn's Landing to Packer Avenue. Liar to tell it, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by True Green. If you want a great-looking lawn next spring, now is the perfect time to get started. And nobody makes it easier or more affordable to get a green, healthy lawn than True Green. Sign up today for an annual plan and get 50% off one application. Visit TrueGreen.com today. Restrictions apply.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Greg Karen, I'm the president and CEO of the Philadelphia Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. When dining out or shopping at the grocery store, ask for sustainable seafood. By choosing sustainable seafood, you can help reduce overfishing, bycatch, loss of top predators, illegal fishing, and other harmful environmental impacts. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
Hey, if you're listening to me right now, I have one thing every business needs most: attention. Think about it. We swipe and scroll past stuff all day, but when we're driving, cooking, working out, we're also listening. That's the magic of audio at iHeart. We're in your next customer's ears while they're living life and listening, just like you are right now. So get your customers to listen up today using radio, digital, and podcasts. Call 844-ADD-HELP-5. That's 844-ADD-HELP-5.
For decades, the mafia had New York City in a stranglehold, but the murder of Carmichael Lanti marked the beginning of the end.
It sent the message that we can prosecute these people.
From the minds behind the acclaimed television series, listen to Law and Order: Criminal Justice System on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart Radio app and search Law and Order: Criminal Justice System and start listening.
It's the Marketer's Report. Today, Kate Cronin, Chief Brand Officer of Moderna, tells us about the advantages the speed of audio production affords their growing tech company.
At Moderna, we have a mindset saying that we pivot fearlessly. And I think with audio, you can pivot fearlessly. You can go where the news is and bringing in content that perhaps you didn't have a few weeks earlier. It's less 6 months in advance or 3 months in advance when you do a TVC. You're able to create really nimble content, which I think in this day and age, and particularly at Moderna, where we have new information coming out on a regular basis, being able to feed that information to the audio format makes being nimble and pivoting easy.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to all, from national to local, every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. Not just a media company, iHeartMedia is your access company. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Some people think Taco Bell is only for late night. But if that was the case, it wouldn't be open all day. That'd be horrible management. It's also for daytime, which is why Taco Bell's introducing the new Cantina Chicken menu. With new Cantina Chicken tacos, burrito, and quesadilla, with seasoned slow roasted chicken, and even a new avocado verde salsa packet. You should try it today. Emphasizing that word so you don't forget that it's not just for late night.
Introducing the new Cantina Chicken menu, Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact store for participation with fares.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
When dreaming, you got it to in all the world, time and time again. At sunrise, I fight to stay asleep, 'cause I don't wanna leave the comfort of this place. 'Cause there's a hunger, longing to escape from the life we live.
Yeah, baby. Football season.
I need to see Creed again.
Welcome back. Sean Brace, Jon Jansen.
When are they in
with you.
Atlantic City? Have they been there yet? Would you go to the one in Atlantic City?
I wanted to go to the one in Hershey. But
Her one in Hershey was phenomenal.
yeah, I wanted to go. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that 30,000
We went out
strong.
afterwards, and by the way, when you go out to a place that's open till 2 a.m. in a place like Hershey,
oh, you
it's
see
not
it all.
great. It's not.
You see it all.
It is not good. It was probably some of the worst food I've ever had. It was
Really?
awful, terrible food. The server was really good, but the order was like completely wrong that the kitchen got right. It was something the Uber driver warned us to. It's like you're going to a place in Hershey, Pennsylvania at 2 a.m.
Did you have a hotel out there?
We did. We got a
okay,
hotel.
gotcha.
The hotel was very nice.
Did
I think it was
Jeremy
brand new.
go with you?
Jeremy did not. no.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure. Did your brother go?
No, it was just my roommate, who is essentially my nephew, whom I call my cousin.
Your brother
And then-
didn't go? Come on, man. Gypsy Wisdom? Not in the house?
And
Oh, he was
I
probably
think he
performing.
likes Creed. He was likely performing.
Yeah, on a Friday
What was
night.
that? A Friday? Yeah, Friday night. He was performing.
Where are they at this weekend?
Oh, they're probably everywhere this weekend. I imagine they're going to be at a place called the OD. Sometime this weekend.
Oh, that's a good spot.
So that's a pretty good spot. But yeah, they'll be all over the place.
I'm representing. I got my Fred's Tavern shirt on here. Let's go.
Nice.
Let's go. It's a great place for Creed. I bet you they do well down there at Stone Harbor.
Yeah, Ocean Drive, Hard Rock, Ocean Drive again, a yacht club private event.
They're at the Hard Rock.
Yeah, they're at the Hard Rock Lobby Bar.
Yeah, baby. It's a Labor Day weekend. I like that. Nice pull by.
I'm excited for Labor Day weekend.
Lots
of great football. I got two big drafts
Um,
for fantasy football going on.
You don't even like fantasy football. Why are you drafting? What are you wasting people's time?
I am wasting. I'm 100% wasting.
Then why are you saying yes to it?
Because it's only two, and the other one, my friends, I've been doing it with this friend group, and they didn't text me to confirm, hey, do you want to do the league? It was just almost a couple hours before the draft. Hey, draft's at 7 today. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I wanted to be out, but it's too late. Yeah. But the other one is the other two were the main drafts that I try and pay attention to. Because one's a family draft, and the other one's sort of a family
lying
draft.
through his teeth. He doesn't pay attention to anything fantasy.
I've not been as good. My family one I have, and I haven't been doing as well, paying attention.
You're in this season-long Major League Baseball one for the station. You don't even check in. You're in.
How we
last
doing?
place. You're terrible.
Okay.
But it's an easy win anytime someone's got to play Jon Jansen. That's coming down the stretch, though. It's been fun to be a part of that. It's such a
Has it been fun?
Yeah, look, I got an AGM, so I'm very thankful for that because baseball is not one fantasy-wise that I would be, racing to do again by myself. If I did not have the AGM, I don't know.
I'm going to throw my AGM under the bus, too. Nick McCone just didn't do anything.
Come on, Nick. Yeah, what's up? You guys are last place and you got 2 for there? Come on, man.
Yeah, Nick's the baseball guy.
Nick is the baseball guy.
Paying attention every night.
Pulling sound, no matter if it's the Miami Marlins or the Arizona Diamondbacks or the Mariners. He's all over the league. All right. We do have some dumb stuff to continue these conversations, and we will do that.
I like dumb.
Yeah, dumb is always good. But with the NFL and, of course, college football here, that's where we got to focus and fire a little bit. We'll get some futures as far as the NFL is concerned, maybe some awards, because that's what I was diving into a little bit yesterday. But all eyes on college football right here, right now. And I want to talk a little bit about Georgia and Carson Beck and a game against Clemson, 13.5, also on Saturday, kicking off at noon. 13.5 Georgia favored, game being played in Atlanta. 48.5 is our total in that one. Clemson, why are we so fast to say that Clemson will not hang with Georgia in this? When Georgia lost a lot of key pieces last year, Carson Beck is a badass. I know Kirby Smart's a great coach. I think Georgia will probably be in the national championship game. Probably, I have them winning it all this year. I don't think that, people would roll their eyes at that. There's one of 3 teams that mainly everybody has. But why am I feeling like Clemson is, Dabo's like, okay, you want to doubt us? I see it. Like, he is still a recruiter. He could go out there and pull some big names.
He does. And
he has a defensive style too, right? And I know that they lost Venables 2 seasons ago or last year, and defensively they struggled. But in this year, in this moment, in game 1, are you seeing a blowout or a tight game?
I think we could potentially see Georgia handle this game kind of easy. And most of it, the stuff that's happening with Clemson now, because I think you're right. Dabo Swinney's not, it's not like his recruiting's bad. His recruiting's very good. And he's getting good players on the defensive line still. They still have really potent defensive lines, which is one of the reasons why they were winning national championships. The big one, though, and this is where the transfer portal comes into play, is the portal's really good for getting the skill position guys. If you want to get a great wide receiver, if you want to get a great quarterback, that's where you win in the skill position battle and at some pretty important positions, especially a quarterback. And Clemson does not do it at all. Clemson used to have, by the way, the best wide receivers. They used to have the best quarterbacks. I mean, they won because of Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. They won because they had guys like Justin Ross and I think who they have, Sammy Watkins, and they had a few other guys when Trevor Lawrence's freshman year, and Hunter Renfrow when Deshaun Watson won it. They've had great wide receivers, NFL caliber wide receivers, and NFL caliber quarterbacks. They have all of the other stuff around them, that they still recruit well, especially defensively. There's some very good talent on the defensive side and still on the defensive line this year for Clemson, but it's always going to come down to offense. Their offense seems to be behind the times a little bit. Now, they hired Garrett Riley last year, who was Lincoln Riley's brother, who does the air raid type of stuff, who was with TCU when they got to the national championship. So there is some maybe hope that in the second year that they can adapt a little bit more to it. But Clemson's offense, I still think, is going to get beat up pretty bad throughout the season, and especially against a team like Georgia, who is going to most likely tout one of the SEC's and country's best defenses, even with all the talent that's lost, because Kirby Smart hits the portal. It's a great recruiter. And also they're a machine like Alabama now, where they can just develop talent so easily. And they're going to be great defensively almost every single year and churn out NFL talent almost every single year. I just don't think Clemson can keep up with that. Clemson can win games and win still a lot of games in the ACC because they're good defensively. They have good enough talent on offense that their offense isn't lagging behind an ACC offense. But once you step up to an SEC, that's where the offense becomes a big issue, and you can't keep up with an offense that has players like Georgia does and with quarterbacks like Carson Beck. So I think Clemson's still kind of behind the times there.
All right. I want to see a game, right?
I would hope so. And I don't think you're going to see a huge 40-point blowout, but this is likely to me a 35-20, 35-17 ball game.
Well, 13.5 point spread.
And my AGM is not happy that I threw him on.
Oh, wow.
Just send me an SMH.
Wow.
I kind of deserve that because I was the one who said I would help him through the league. So I was adamant about helping him, and I'll do it. And then I didn't do anything.
And Picone's got an army now, so I would be careful of saying anything.
I know.
Bad
I would
about
be very,
Nick
I don't want to.
Shake my head. I like that, Nick Picone.
That's it. Didn't say anything. Oh, I got the second. Do you want the second text?
He's checking out for look, the season's over for you guys. You guys didn't even give it an opportunity.
Oh, I forgot to add him as a team manager, so he's been logging in and out of my account.
Oh, see,
so he has my account, but yeah, that would be a pain if you have to keep logging in and out over and over and over. All right, that's a fair.
I mean,
that's
accountability.
Yeah,
right.
We're lacking it. We're lacking it, Coach. That's what it comes down to. Jon Jansen.
I'm the Nick Sirianni of our team. I just wasn't communicating well.
No,
a bit of an ego, I guess.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Throwing people under the bus, which seems like you did.
It was tough. That was a tough one. All right. We got some other odds and ends before we get out of here at 5:00. Quickly on this one, anything for you with the first of all, are you a Netflix guy? Are you going to watch this Connor Stallions Netflix documentary?
No. And so who was it? She's on the Levitar chart. Lucy Roden was like, this could have been 15 minutes. And to me, it didn't even need to be a minute. It didn't even need to be made. Well, there's no story
at the end of the day.
That is a nice ESPN. If we had good investigative journalism,
well, we do, but the thing is
not like we used to.
People aren't signing up. No, but no one's sitting down for that, right?
If E60 was still as big as it used to be, or all of these reporters who ESPN would have around and could do this kind of stuff, this is a great ESPN article, or this is a great ESPN feature on SportsCenter for 5 to 7 minutes. A documentary on this is crazy. We don't need any of that.
Well, I don't agree.
I don't need a second of this. I really don't need a second.
Well, I think you're arguing two different ways here. Number one is, yes, we do. This is the biggest cheating scandal in college football history.
It's not a big cheating scandal. It's a cheating scandal.
It is the biggest cheating scandal in college football history. Name me one bigger.
I'm sure there's bigger. I can't name it. All of college football.
This is the biggest sports or cheating story in college football history. So yes, a documentary or investigative journalism could go in there. There's been plenty of questions that aren't answered. He wasn't truthful. This is a fluff piece of a documentary. It's not even a documentary. It's a PR piece. That's what it is.
And that's the thing I can't trust either. I can't trust sports documentaries for the most part.
Yeah. Well, the ones that are done,
especially
now.
the Netflix has only had one good one, And I don't even know if it's part of this Netflix documentary series, but it was the Manti Te'o one. I thought that they did
That was
excellent
good. Yeah,
job on.
they just had one on McNair, which was good. That's part of this.
I haven't
Untold
watched it,
series.
and I
Check
haven't heard
that
much
out,
about it, so I don't know if it could be that good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I watched it. I have yet to watch
But
this.
I think they lucked into the Manti Te'o thing because that actually had a significance on the period it was in, because social media was this crazy thing, and it was getting bigger and bigger to the point where we were starting to see things like catfish and things like that. And that's why you get the TV show and stuff. So it was a significant period piece, but also how that affected a player and a certain individual. And it had a message that I don't think it really necessarily went into thinking it had. But Manti Te'o was just so good. The Johnny Manziel one, you could have told something significant there. They didn't give a bleep about telling any of that.
No.
They wanted Johnny Manziel to just talk about being Johnny Manziel.
It's PR pieces. It's fluff pieces. That's all it is.
They're just lucky Manti Te'o had something to say.
Who, oh, by the way, is now on Good Morning Football, I want to say.
Is Manti Te'o on Good Morning?
Good looking guy, good looking dude, out there all buff and chiseled and hopefully not getting catfished and duped anymore.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like he's a bad person whatsoever, and he just got this label on him because
he was.
I mean, it was just somebody that didn't know, who was from Hawaii, didn't know what any of this meant, any of Facebook meant, and all this stuff.
What was her name again?
Why would a guy? Yeah, I forget. But why would a guy think he's being catfished? Especially when you're again and from Hawaii. I'm sure he's a bit sheltered as a child, which I think they highlighted.
Yeah.
And this whole social media thing, everybody's still figuring out.
It's a hot one down there at Citizens Bank Park, 1-0.
Which is why I imagine not many people are there.
Yeah, that's a tough one to get there. Everybody's got their handheld fans.
It is hot out there right now. What is with this?
You were in that booth.
I was.
Bregman
Hello.
goes base knock.
But it's too hot. I had a pumpkin spice latte this morning, thinking it's just another great
You're
fall
one
day.
of the people that are buying these pumpkin stuff. and
Yeah,
that's-
today was the big one though, and we can shout out this one because we love Dunkin'.
Oh.
Dunkin's pumpkin spice lineup rolled out today.
Rita's.
So I had pumpkin. Oh, Rita's too.
is
Right, I know
yeah.
Rita's has been out. I've heard you've been talking up some Rita's.
Yeah, I need to get on down to Rita's and try
I don't think
that
I've ever tried their. I think I tried their pumpkin water ice. Never mind.
I think I gotta scoop one up, a little pumpkin milk, pumpkin crete, as they say.
But I'll tell you, the Dunkin' was hidden. I was hidden.
It's too early. For
And then
It's
it
too early
became
for-
95 degrees and
for
it wasn't hitting all that much.
Yeah, everybody wanted to hit the fast forward button. Summer.
I already hit it.
Summer's
already
not
there.
going anywhere just yet.
No, summer's gone.
No.
The thing is, tomorrow we're back to beautiful fall weather.
It's gonna be like
No, it's 83. No, Friday we're down to 78. And then next week it's on the 70s.
yeah. Next week's supposed to be cool, not chilly, cool, and I'll be down the shore all week. As long as it's dry, that's all I give it. All right. Couple odds and ends before we get out
Your
of here.
Amazing week 1 trip to the shore. Week 1 NFL trip to the shore is always.
What did I say? A tradition unlike anybody else. Yep. Now here's the deal.
Unlike any other. But
Yeah, it's over though. This is my final one.
Why is this the final one?
Because my daughter starts school next year.
So it's too late.
The reason why we take September vacations is because we can. Yes. So when your kids don't have to go to school,
Are you kind of sad? Is it? 'Cause I feel like you've been enjoying these late summer, early September vacation.
Am I sad? No, because I'm going on one in 3 days. But will I be sad next year? You bet your ass I will.
Yeah, because my buddy, his family is going on vacation down the shore in a couple of weeks. So right in the smack dab middle of September, which is a great time to go because they can, as you just said, because you can.
Because you
But
can.
now, are you excited about this whole school thing? Is that?
Well,
I guess that's something next year you got to worry about.
That's next year. We're doing we're doing karate and tap dance now, baby. That's
karate.
Yes.
Nice.
13 straight weeks, girls.
Wait, did you say tap dancing?
Yeah, she's doing tap dancing, and she just did 13 straight. I think hell more than that. It's like 15 straight.
When do you start tap dancing? I feel like that's young to start tap dancing.
Oh,
Can you even do it properly at that age?
she's a tap dancing queen. Right
No way, really?
Oh, she's dragging her feet. She scuffed the floors up with these new shoes. I'm like, yo, whoa, do that stuff outside. Tap dancing Betty. All right, quickly on this. Once again, 1-0 Phillies. What are we squeezing in here? As far as
what do you got?
Well, we hit on some college football. I wanted to do some NFL. Let's just finish on this one. Let's talk Birds and Packers. 2.5 number on the move here. Do you have a good vibe about this game?
2.5. I'm assuming the Eagles are a 2.5 point favorite.
That is correct. You would assume correct.
Wow.
Now, are we talking about a team that is going to handle business down in Brazil, and the numbers moving in the right direction for that reason, and people are starting to read between the lines, or is this up in the air at this point in time? How are we supposed to handicap this game right now?
I mean, it's a 2.5 point spread is right where it needs to be because it's a tough game and it's a neutral field. I think the Eagles should be a favorite, and I think they should be close to a field goal favorite, which is what we're inching towards closer now. But to take away that half a point because it's a neutral field and Green Bay's a good team, yeah, the number is great. I thought initially it was going to go the other way because there was this whole love affair with the Packers, and Jordan Love was amazing at the end of the year, and that was all kind of play its way into this Packers hype machine. And the Eagles, I thought, had this advantage of, well, they did bad last year in the second half, so maybe they aren't good, or there's doubts about Jalen Hurts, doubts about Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni's a punching bag for a lot of the fans, media, national media, and a punching bag because they didn't do well. I guess because they kind of went in through the offseason without a hitch. Like, they actually did pretty well. The training camp games, practices seem pretty good. Preseason games seem pretty good. Jalen seems to be getting talked about in a very high manner. I guess that's all playing a part in the Eagles moving up. I think it's the Eagles to me. As soon as I saw this line, it was the Eagles. The Eagles are a better football team than Green Bay. And I think they're getting a little hyped, and Green Bay is going to be missing Aaron Jones. I like Josh Jacobs, but Josh Jacobs is a completely different running back than Aaron Jones. And I don't know if they make up for a lot of the things that Aaron Jones did, especially in the passing game. That means you're going to have to put a lot of pressure on their wide receivers like Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, to actually be very good. And Aaron Jones was a big part of that passing game because he was one of their better receivers. So I just think it's a lot of pressure on them. And I think the Eagles, again, the roster is just better. Packers defense is fine. It's good. There's no defense in the NFC that is going to be capable of stopping the Eagles. And I think this is one of the games where they can prove that. Woo! So I like that this spread still is under 3. 2.5 is probably right where I would have put it. I thought 1 was a little low initially. But yeah, the Eagles are the better team. I really don't think there's any question about that for me.
Arrighetti with another K here. What's he got? 5 strikeouts, I want to say. So
he's very good.
Yeah, he is. Bad ERA, and not we don't focus too much on win-loss record. That's not
the
good.
ERA is just okay, but for the most part, he's got good stuff.
Looking at his strikeouts, I was he struck out
I'm
12,
pretty sure he's a young
13.
pitcher. I think he's
Yeah,
really
he's a
just
rookie.
starting to. Yeah, he's a rookie. Okay.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
That's what I thought. I thought he was just starting to get his footing in the major leagues this season.
He's got them boys. Who's he remind me of? He reminds me of
long hair. Tyler Glass now? No.
No.
Who?
You know who I'm seeing? Also had long hair.
Tim Lincecum?
DeGrom. I see a little DeGrom in his delivery.
Not the stuff.
No.
You say DeGrom, and then I see 94-mile-an-hour fastball. That's not close.
No, maybe DeGrom now. What's he doing?
Potentially. I know he had some simulated starts a few weeks ago, a week or two ago, but I haven't really heard anything since. Or at least he was on the mound.
They say he's pitching this year. An article was just
they're
written.
trying.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. This was a fun one, and I appreciate you coming through. Of course, having some fun here on a Wednesday. Back and better than ever tomorrow for Villanova football. 5:30 pregame show.
I'm just all Villanova up, handing out textbooks to the kids.
That's right.
Getting them ready for the school year, and also Villanova football. Great showing, by the way, yesterday at Chickies and Pizza, Drexel Hill. That was awesome. Great crowd. And now tomorrow, one of the bigger FCS games to open the
Damn
year.
right. Up there on the main line, Villanova and Youngstown State coming your way. Catch the action on the Villanova Sports Radio Network. Ryan Finn, Kevin Riley on the call. And pregame coverage, 5:30 p.m. right here with Jon Jansen back at the studio.
We're back. Football's officially back at the Gambler.
What game is
Let's
it?
go.
What game's you hitting on tomorrow? Anything?
I might. That UNC Minnesota game is tomorrow.
Yeah,
right?
That's on Fox. But you got to whip around the conference too.
I got to whip it. Oh, when I do the pregame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
have my FCS ready to go.
All right.
And besides, Ryan Fannon's on the call, so he lets me know during the break.
Another strikeout.
You got to make sure you have this game and this game.
This dude's sick, man.
He's got some solid stuff.
Arcaini. All right. Jon Jansen, thank you. Julian Edlow, thank you. Luke Arcaini, thank you. Coming
Creed, thank you.
Thank you. Coming up next, it's the big brains on college football. That's what I'm calling the show. It is Joe Tanzi, Mark Henry Jr., and Ryan B. Coyle. And then at 6 o'clock, you'll hear Swinging and Ding It. Keep it locked right here to The Gambler. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.
Spreads, totals, and all the prop bets in between. It's the game.
We had the appetizer last week. Now it's time to feast. Sean Brace here for DraftKings Sportsbook. Folks, college football is back. Do not miss any of the action. Jump in right now with DraftKings Sportsbook. A full slate of games for week 1, including that big-time matchup in Atlanta between the preseason number 1 and number 16 teams. How about them dogs? I think they got Clemson. We shall see. This is going to be DraftKings' biggest college football season to date. So enjoy the ride now all the way through the expanded playoffs. Plus, all you newbies getting into the college football spirit, here's something a little extra. DraftKings customers, new ones only, bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings all college football season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BRACE. That's code BRACE for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Now, it's only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambler problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus.